Blog Talk Radio.
Talk to Will in Arizona. Thanks for holding her on the air.
First off, I am a Prison TV Planet member.
Awesome, brother. Go ahead and into your points, and I'll hold you over if need be.
If you really want to have an unabridged idea of what is going on today, look at it's actually a YouTube video, but it's a documentary. Adolf Hitler, the greatest story never told. He actually kicked out a lot of the bankers because they were trying to implode Germany after World War I. And it was the bankers. And when I was watching that, it was 5 hours long, and I started listening and saying to myself, wait a minute, they are just repeating history, but because we are so dumbed down in the sense of our historical knowledge.
Well, I haven't seen the documentary you're talking about, but people can, I guess, check it out for themselves.
The very well-made, excellent, and moving documentary called Adolf Hitler, The Greatest Story Never Told. I want you to do something for me as well, and I would really appreciate it. Before you listen to this interview, I want you to watch the documentary. I know you want to listen to this program right away, but if you haven't already seen it, I want you to stop this program right now and go watch the documentary first. And I'm adamant about watching the documentary because one of the biggest hurdles that the majority of people seem to have, they're basically just kind of set in their ways, and they argue that they already know everything that they need to know concerning this topic. Well, I can promise you, people, You don't know 1/10 of it.
I seriously had a panic attack after I watched that documentary, The Greatest Story Never Told. And for days afterward, I was really shook up. It had such a profound impact on me, and everything started making so much sense, and I felt so... I mean, I've always felt kind of betrayed by the powers that be, but I felt more betrayed than ever. And I started looking back on my entire life, and looking back at all the movies that I'd seen.
I just couldn't believe it. I thought if they could pull off this, then anything is possible. Anything.
Yeah.
You know, and that one, you know, I would encourage anybody watching this or listening to this to watch that hasn't seen that documentary to watch it and go back
with an open mind.
Open mind, and listen to that interview that you did with Dennis Wise recently.
But that's most likely what got us censored from iTunes, by the way, too, that show.
Yeah, well...
That shows what we're not allowed to talk about. It's just, it's off limits, you know?
And that's what, when I was going through that sort of panic attack realization, that was it. That was the big red flag. I was like, oh my God, like of course we're not being told the truth because we're not allowed to talk about this issue. When you're not allowed to talk about something, then that's like the red flag right there. If it's off limits, then that's the thing you need to talk about the most.
And the rule to remember is that history is written by the winner.
I can promise you, people, you don't know 1/10 of it.
There you go. Because, you know, I guess I got some flack the other night there for playing that documentary because they said I was glorifying Adolf Hitler. No, playing a documentary that gives you facts, historical facts. Adolf Hitler did win the Iron Cross. He did have all those medals. He was a World War I veteran and was a corporal and saw much action on the front lines. As a matter of fact, he was very brave. Most people would be a coward and we're trying to get out of that war. So it's a fact. That's a fact of history. What, I'm not supposed to tell the facts? I'm supposed to lie? I got to make up stories? Oh, he was really Jewish. Oh, no, he had one ball. Oh, yeah, well, you know, stupid. I got to listen to the asinine idiots, or maybe I should be an expert at football numbers, the basketball scores of last night, or something like that. That would make me real intelligent, right? You know? No. And I will never ever apologize for studying history or presenting the facts of history. Okay? That documentary right there it's actually 6 hours long. And it's a profound documentary that gives a historical collection of references, newspaper articles, video clips, and it's narrated in a honest perspective. It doesn't give you an opinion like most television shows or like the History Channel that gives you a narrative to make you believe something that you're seeing when it's not true. Okay? No. I'm not going to do that. So when I play stuff like that on my podcast show, that's a fact jack. And if anybody's offended by it or they want to call me names, then too bad. I'm going to tell the facts. Just like the Federal Reserve controls our economy. Fact, the Federal Reserve controls every aspect of our economy. Controls your car payment, controls your mortgage payment, controls how much wages you earn, it controls everything when it comes to the monetary system, and it's a privately owned bank. It has no oversight whatsoever by any politician, by any group of people in this country, okay? They're all foreign stockholders. Their names are mostly kept secret, but people through research and investigation have been able to find out who really those names are on the board, the real board, okay? So, you know, this is the problem. And these lemmings out there and these Fruit Loops out there, these carrot heads, they don't know what they're talking about. I mean, and it doesn't matter most of the time anyway, because when I preach this stuff, it goes in one ear and out the other. Now, I'm hoping, Sarge, I see the first caller, 330, you'll be first. I'm not going to keep you on hold all night. I know. I think last night you got a little shafted there, but I think she was trying to make a point because the last show that she did, everybody got into an argument match and was shouting over each other, and you can't do that to people. I mean, you know, so we can't be shouting over each other because then nobody hears anything. Now, I mean, you could say what you want to say, but I'm just saying, you know, we can't be in a shouting match because I've gotten a lot of complaints about that too, where people just start yelling over each other, and these lemmings come on here and they start this crap, you know. Like that angry Jew guy that started that stuff, you know, that's just, you know, we can't have that. because then we're just yelling at each other, and nobody wants to listen to that. So, but everybody's but everybody's always welcome to bring their point of view or perspective to the table. I mean, that's what my show was always. That's what I always promoted. Everybody gets a shot, and I've taken a lot of freaking flack over it throughout the years. Look what they did to me in the media. By me having the National Socialist Movement on my podcast show, I got labeled a Nazi and a hater and a racist. You know, I mean, but I don't care. First Amendment is important. I'm going to give everybody a chance to speak on my podcast show. That's what it's here for. I'm not going to bring one special message to brainwash people. I'm going to let people speak. And, you know, and some people talk asinine. Some people talk total false. But that's what we're here for, to discuss the truth, to find out the truth, and to examine the facts. You know, I mean, I could tell you, be a storyteller all night long and try to brainwash you and push what I believe on you. But no, I'm not going to do that. I'm giving this to you to call in to say what you got to say, or talk about the things that concern you, or the things that are important. That's what, you know. This isn't General Hospital here. You know, we're not. This isn't a soap opera. I just don't understand some people. I just don't get it. I mean, I guess that's why I'm here also, to try to figure some people out. I don't know. I mean, because stupid always does, I guess. I don't know. But it's just, this is what my show is about. So, well, tonight I wanted to try to talk about tonight the most important thing that we're all talking about pretty much, and that's Israel and Hamas and America and the money that's going overseas and stuff like that. So I wanted to bring that onto the forefront to try to analyze this and get to the bottom of the truth here and the facts. Why do we really support Israel? Why is Israel in the position it's in? What's Hamas's position? These college protests that are going around, who's right, who's wrong, or is anybody even right? You know, those are the things that I really would like to talk about and see if anyone out there can offer facts to the table and historical documentation or something, a foundation that we can stand upon and then make a fair judgment. When we speak about these things, because I hear a lot of asinine arguments out there. Like some people say, well, Israel was never there before 1948. No, they were there before 1948, okay? They were there thousands of years ago. Israel was there, okay? Or Palestine, that's their country. First of all, Palestine's not a country, okay? Or who the Palestinians are as a people. What are the Palestinians? From my understanding and from where my research is, there are many different groups of people that are really considered Palestinians. It's like the Indians. What are the Indians? What's an Indian? Well, an Indian is what? An Apache, Cherokee, Pawnee, all different types of Indians, right? Well, that's what the Palestinians are. They're all different types. You got Egyptians, Jordanians, Turkish. You got all kinds. There's just not one specific group or one race of people. That's from what I gathered. And if anybody wants to prove me wrong or talk about these things, then that's what we're going to try to discuss here tonight. I was hoping Sarge would come on the phone here tonight, because last night he actually brought this forward. He said he would love to do a podcast show where we discuss all this stuff and put it out there and gave a true historical perspective here of what this is all about. And talk about the Middle East and analyze it in a nutshell. Take the show and analyze it and get to the bottom of all this, because there's a lot of people out there that are spewing crap, and it could cause problems. It could cause a freaking civil war almost. So it's causing a war over in the Middle East. It could drag us into World War III. So I think it's pretty important to talk about it. I don't think it's important to talk about Donald Trump's trial right now. Okay. That's what I think. So I had some senators I was going to call here tonight and do that, but I see some people already waiting, so I'm not going to make them wait. So I'll bring on Tay first. If Sarge is out there, I'd like to get you on, Sarge, right away so we can have this conversation. Who the hell text messaged me, but they better stop. All right, anyway, 330, you're on. Go ahead.
Well, you wanted to talk about some distractions. I believe that the Israel and the Hamas whole situation is a diversion somewhat, because you have basically, let's talk about religion. That's what this is all going to come down to. It's going to be a religious war where you have your Muslims and your Christians eventually go into massive biblical destruction war type situation. On that note, you've heard about China in the past. They had a population problem where they were only one person per or one child per family. It was, I think.
Yep.
It's now.
Yeah, I heard about that.
We know about 90% now of the actual immigrants that are coming across the border. Now, this is an astounding number. 90% are military-aged Chinese men, and they're coming through the Bavarian Gap. And there was a guy last night that did a documentary I watched, and he said that two types of immigrants that are coming across. You have those that are suppressed or under tyranny, and they know, you can tell when you see them, they're almost elated that they've escaped where they're from. And then there's this other group. And this other group happens to be these middle-aged Chinese military-aged men. And he said they are angry and they are violent. And he went on to say,
what are they angry at? What are they angry at?
Well, you have to remember one thing. Now, as he goes on and talks about this, he says, with that population reduction, now only having one child per family, there ended up being a 5-to-1 ratio of 5 males born to every girl. You take these men, these young boys, and you put them in a military, the tyranny they're under, and they're not allowed to do anything. Complete government, sexually frustrated. Now that they're at the age of, they've been told this entire time while they're growing up and being trained, when you go to America, when you will, and you will fight for because a lot of them are Muslim. People don't realize that. Chinese can be Muslim.
Yeah.
And when you come back from this war in America, that you will be a part of the invasion, which is going on right in front of us, that you can have that woman. They are being told to come over here. They're going to be turned loose, and then you have Biden through Afghanistan abandons all these weapons. Well, now they've found that these cargo ships are coming into port, and they're having full semi-type trailer boxes that they can't be opened. They have some kind of government restriction on them. Somebody got into one of them, and guess what we have? The same weapons, the small arms fire, the automatic weapons and ammunition from Afghanistan that was abandoned, brought back here and going to be handed out to who? Your cartel members and your Chinese immigrants that are here to invade us. Now, if that doesn't put a red flag up on everything else that's going on, like you said, Donald Trump's trial, I could give two shits about. Who cares? I'm worried about my country, let alone my neighborhood, your family. People, this has gotten so severe with the infiltration, and they're not talking about 10 million. They're now, if CNN says it, it's got to be true, right? Over 50 million illegals that we can put on paper that know about.
Over the years, I'd say that's what the number would be. Yeah, I'd say over the last 5, 6, 7, 10 years, maybe. Yeah, I'd say that's probably the right number. Yeah.
And that's what we know about, Joe. That's what that they're saying that we can. So we already know about the ones that escaped, and how about the known terrorists on the list that come to the border, that they have them on the list? How many of them didn't get caught? Well, this happens to be when Biden did this Afghanistan debaclement, whatever you want to call it. He turned loose. Do you remember when they opened up all those Afghan jails and all those guys were being held prisoner?
Oh yeah, they let them loose all day. Throughout the whole war, they were capturing people, putting them in prison, and now they let them all out. Yep.
Yeah, they're loose, and guess where they've made landfall?
Oh yeah, here probably. Yeah.
Yes, there's your cell leaders that have been brought over here deliberately. And those guys can have some type of, they've got the monetary value that can get them across. Even if they had to question them, here's so much money to get across to set up what's going to happen with an invasion that's already taken place. And it's not all Chinese, but you have to understand it's the Muslim faith biblically that says we are going to have a war between Christians and Muslims. America is
I
about
wouldn't
to
be
fall
surprised.
to the Zionists. The Zionist America is the fall of an empire, and Israel is going to step up. This is where they come in, and they think that they are going to, and they have. We can't say that, you know what, I can't say that they haven't, because you said the bankers and everything, how that's all controlled. You look who's doing it. They control America right now. They control pretty much everything over the world except your BRICS nations, your Russia, your China. Everybody that we've pissed off at some time or another, one or two, now they've gotten together and said, you know what, it's time to shut it down. We got
and they have the backing of the Catholic Church. And they got the backing of the Roman Empire. So that's where they're getting all their
have people
a lot of their power.
And they're so, no matter what you are in the world where you're born, there's two things that you will defend to the death. Most people will. Most people. That is your homeland and your religion. With that being said, the Zionist, propagandist, Jewish, whatever you want to call it, Khazarian, just bad people. Let's just put it that way. Whoever they are, whatever you want to call them, evil.
Let me see who this is. Yeah, let me bring on another caller. I think this is Sarge. I think it is. So let me see if this is Sarge. And then I see Gunslinger. So see if this is Sarge. Is this you, Sarge?
Yeah, you put the call out there, Joe, so I guess I might as well answer it. Look, man.
Sarge, let me say something real quick. Last night I didn't get a chance to comment. I don't know. I'm not mad about that. But I did just want to say that those ladies that spoke last night, if anybody that heard them, were spot on. 100%.
Yeah.
And I'm glad to see that people, I almost feel
starting to wake up.
where I've actually been, everything I've said for almost 4.5 years where everybody told me I was crazy at first, now people are waking up to see it, and I just hope it isn't too damn late. Now you're back to Sarge. Sorry about that, bud.
Yep. Sarge, you got the floor, and then I got Gunslinger, too, that's waiting in the wings, so I don't mind having you guys on, so go ahead.
Yeah. There's a manifold number of reasons to criticize Israel's policies, both domestic and foreign, and I share everybody's concern with their inordinate influence on the people we elect to our government, along with a host of other countries, I might add. So I'm not arguing that. I'm simply arguing the historical currents that have got Israel to where they are now. People are behaving as though they are something exceptional, never before seen in history, and that's my objection, the way the people view Israel. Not that they criticize it. I mean, they want to criticize, be my guest. As long as you got a valid criticism of it, you should criticize Israel. But when they look at things that happen, genocide, war crimes, that's bullshit. It's none of that. It's like they said with the UN Resolution 242 after the 6-Day War. And by the way, let me deal with that after I say this. As long as the country occupies or takes land that is critical to its national defense as a result of a defensive war, which was clearly the case in 1967, there can be no doubt about that, then they are entitled to hold it until it is no longer a threat to them. Now, I'll give you an example. The Sinai from Egypt after Yom Kippur, which, by the way, they came perilously close to being defeated in 1973. I mean, it was a close-run thing for Israel. They almost got whooped. But
yeah, I know. Yep.
They took the Sinai from Egypt, and when Egypt signed the Camp David Accords, agreeing to recognize Israel and not go to war against them without proper cause, then they gave it back to them. They would do the same thing with Gaza, at least part of the West Bank and all of Gaza, if they could get assurances that they wouldn't be attacked by these terrorist entities. Now, that's clear as a bell. I'm certain of it. If they didn't, then I would be against Israel. But since thus far the people who oppose them have shown no sign whatsoever of being willing to do that, I'm going to say Israel's got to do what it's got to do. And that's all it is to it.
Let me say this then. Okay, well, since 1948, when they became a state again or a country, all the Jews were supposed to go back to Israel. They were all, that's even in the Bible that they claim, right? Well, then why have they got so much influence on our country and our politics then? Why have they still got their freaking hooks in us? You know, why are they over here?
Because everybody wants to get their hooks in the United States. Everybody thinks the United States is a cash cow. That's why. Why shouldn't they? I mean, do you think they're any different than these other countries that got their hooks? Turkey, Red China, Pakistan, India, any of them, they're all after us. And I don't think Israel is particularly worse than any of the others. I'll tell you one thing Israel has given the United States. The United States gave the United States a trophy, a tank protection system. I mean, they were the ones that primarily developed. They gave the United States that. They gave them pretty much cooperating with making Iron Dome. They do share intelligence. So, I mean, even though I am opposed to Israel's influence on the United States, I can't deny that from time to time they at least give us something useful. The rest of these countries don't give us a damn thing. Not anything.
Iran doesn't give us
anything. Like I said, look, if you're going to criticize Israel, I got no problem with it whatsoever. Criticize them all you want. Remember, my concern is not Israel. My concern is not Israel. My concern is the United States.
Yep.
That's my concern.
All right, hang on. Tate's got a question for you. Go ahead.
How about the ICC putting out a arrest warrant for Benjamin Netanyahu, and then they also put one out for Putin. But then now you have Putin in Russia putting one out, the hit squad to get Zelensky, because Zelensky supposedly now has been caught with, taking all the money, which we knew that. But now, you have this trifecta of who's going to catch who, because apparently Netanyahu can't go anywhere or they'll get locked up. Putin can't leave, which he don't care. But Zelensky, where's he going to run to? America? Well, isn't America, or isn't somebody giving a bunch of money away that didn't somebody mention that last night in the call, that they said that they thought that all kinds of money that was supposed to be Russia's was being seized and given to Zelensky?
Yes, they did, and it is.
Yeah. Oh man, you know what? Yeah, we're headed to a bad place, and like you said, our homeland, our home front is in jeopardy.
Shit.
Go ahead, Gunslinger. I got you on. Go ahead. I think that's Gunslinger. 225. Whoever 225 is.
Hello, guys.
Oh, okay, Mike. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Yep. Go ahead.
First off, one thing is, if they're not, if the Fed is not in control of our economy, then how come our economy hinges on whether or not the interest rate goes off or down 0.1%? You tell me that.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I know. Yeah. I know the Federal Reserve controls our economy. There's no doubt about it. I mean, how could you deny it? The politicians don't control it. They control policy, maybe, but that's about it.
There is news out of the Trump case in Florida, though. They found out that Jack Smith has doctored evidence, has planted evidence in that particular case. So go figure, right? And that's going to delay that trial to the point of this judge wants to have an evidentiary hearing on this stuff to find out what he did to what documents and what cover pages to what documents. And that's going to delay this trial, this particular trial. And it could end up...
Yeah, but that doesn't have any bearing on the World War III. Right now, Trump's not president, and he's probably going to win the election anyway. So,
bearing, but here's the deal.
Yeah, but wait a minute now. But wait a minute now. Now, which president do you think is likely to prevent the progression of World War III? Joe Biden or Donald Trump? I think that one of the reasons they're doing this is they keep all of these forces that want to embroil us in all these crazy wars around the world to no benefit for the United States. That's one of the reasons they're trying to pin all this jive on Trump.
I'm worried about Trump's family. I'm worried about Trump's family. I think they got evil intentions. I think his son, I don't think they're any good to his family.
I mean, think about it. Trump did not embroil us in one single new conflict while he was in office. He was on his way to getting us out of Afghanistan in an orderly manner, and all of a sudden, lo and behold, he loses the presidency after he gets 11 million more votes than he got the first time, and he's an incumbent president. Now, we know why this was. We know why they did it. They did it because Donald Trump right now is our best chance, whether we like it or not, of railroading and putting up roadblocks for this stuff to buy us a little time so we can start to turn this thing around.
Now, there's one thing you think you could do today.
Guys,
What about Joe Biden? The only thing that he's ever done. Hey, let me say, I do not support Joe Biden one bit. Joe Biden comes out and says he is against the anti-Semitism bill coming across. Now, Donald Trump says he's all for it. Now, where do we stand on that? Because that's here on our homeland.
Yeah, that's interesting.
That's huge.
Well,
that's a swing for Joe Biden, which I don't like. I wish Donald Trump would say
Go ahead, Mike.
One thing about that bill, one thing about him being, what Joe Biden is trying to do is sit the fence. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
By funding both sides of this war in Israel, he's trying to sit the fence, in terms, because he knows that if he comes out for Israel, the Muslims are going to go nuts.
That's
the ragheads are going to go nuts here in the next.
Well, Trump's going to have to pick a side too. He's got to pick a side.
Exactly.
I mean,
Trump's probably going to pick Israel. He won't care about if the Muslims go nuts. He won't care. That's
but where
thing.
do we all stand on as far as our First Amendment? I mean, if Joe Biden says, I mean, that's where I'm saying, hey, you know what? If Donald Trump doesn't come out, if all these politicians don't come out and say, hey, we have that First Amendment. If you don't like it, we're going to protect it with the Second, because that's the next one in line. And we already know what they're trying to do with that.
And we don't want that.
No,
we don't want that. That was
I'll tell you, I'm not. Yeah. Well, given the fact that we all love to talk and talk freely, whatever is on our mind, I value the First Amendment as much or more than anybody living. And I certainly, and to the extent that Joe Biden is against this Anti-Semitism Awareness Act, then for the first time in my life, I'm going to say I'm with Joe Biden. But I tell you what, that don't make up for all the things that I'm against him about.
Yeah.
Not by a long shot.
I got an idea. I got an idea before it gets too late. Hang on, guys. I got an idea. You guys can stay silent if you want. But let's talk about this anti-Semitism bill. I'm going to call one of these senators here and talk to about it right now. Okay, so you guys can just stay silent.
Yeah, it's called the Anti-Semitism Awareness Act. That's the formal name of it.
Okay. Before you call, I just want to say something. And you say you don't want to hear about that trial in New York, but you see, that trial in New York is all about the First Amendment, because they're trying to. That's what these illegal gag orders are. They're trying to shut Trump down from talking about this trial, about the judge and his daughter and everything else.
Hey, it's all coming back to our Constitution, which every one of these politicians have absolutely shit on, tore up, and show no respect for anymore. Exactly.
Exactly, and that's what the Anti-Semitism Awareness Bill. Okay, you guys don't have to talk, but if you do, it's going to be hard because
I'm muting myself.
It's going to be hard. All right.
Going on mute.
Hello.
Thank you for calling Senator Padilla's office. How can I help you?
Yes, I got a question. What's the senator's opinion on the this bill that's being pushed through now, this Anti-Semitism Awareness Bill? I just want to know what his opinion is on this.
May I ask who's speaking, please?
Well, my name is Joseph Gibson.
Gil Gibson?
Yes.
Okay, Gil Gibson. And can I have your address, please?
Well, no. You don't need all that, ma'am. I'm just asking for the senator's opinion or public statement. Can you give that to me?
In our district? I just want to make sure.
Okay, well, I'm an American citizen and I'm in your district. Yeah, I'm in your. Yeah, I know it's a cell phone. But I'm in your district, and I understand you because of the robocalls and everything. That's another problem that we have in this country that the politicians have done nothing about. But anyway,
what's
his
stance,
so
his
position?
Have somebody call you back?
I don't want to call back, ma'am. I don't want to be harassed and telemarketers calling me. I'm calling you. Ma'am, I'm calling you to ask for an official statement or a position on that bill. Can your office give that to me?
That's what I'm going to get you.
Okay.
What is your phone number, please?
No, I don't want to call back, ma'am. I would like, so you don't have an answer for me now. Is that what you're saying?
No, I don't. I'm sorry. Can I get your phone number, please?
Okay. So you just answer the phone and that's it, and then take down information, and then somebody calls me back.
For you.
Taking a message? Okay. Well, is anybody there that can answer the question?
They're in a meeting right now, so they're having
Oh, in
their
a meeting.
weekly
Okay.
meeting. Yes, they're
Gotcha.
having their weekly meeting.
Okay.
What's your phone
All right,
number?
when's a good time to call back? When's a good ma'am? You won't get a hold of me. I'm on the road a lot. I'm on the road a lot. I'm a truck driver. Can I call you back?
Hello?
Can I call you back?
What's your phone number so I can have somebody call you back, sir?
Ma'am, you won't be able to get a hold of me. I travel. You won't be able to get a hold of me.
So let me have somebody call you back because I'm going to email them right now to give you a call back.
Can I call back and speak to somebody?
Sure. You can call back. Thank you. Have a wonderful
When's a
day.
good time to call? When's a good time to call? Just hang up.
Wow.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, I know. This is what they do.
How
this
many
is what
times
they do.
have we called, Joe? How many times have we called these politicians and got absolutely the human phone message that just they have no information, they don't have any answers, and all they're concerned
What's the
about
purpose?
is putting you where you're at.
What's the purpose? Yeah. They serve no purpose. You can't contact them. No, they want my information. You want to know why? So they can send me a computer-generated response, a bot, that has nothing to do with the question at hand. You know?
No, they want to track you. They want to be able to track you. They want to know what your beliefs are.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? Here's how you can tell if a politician's got some integrity. Whether you agree with him or not, he's got a stated position on a particular matter about which he's likely to vote, or he legitimately tells you, I haven't made up my mind yet, and here's why. I'm weighing this, that, or the other. But it should be one or the other of those responses.
Exactly.
And that's how you can tell when you got a politician who might have a measure of integrity. If you don't get that, he's a weasel, and he wants to be able to change his opinion as the wind shifts.
And I do that, like you just said, Dave, as an example. How many times have we called these people live on my podcast and can never get a straight answer? I don't think we've ever gotten one. You know, it's always the same crap because they don't represent us. They don't care.
No.
You know, but anyway.
I understand sometimes we've been calling it's later in the evening or we're not on the same time zone, but you know what? Even the fact of the matter is the ones that did answer the phone had absolutely no decent response. Not even if it was a response we didn't like, they just didn't respond at all.
I know.
Joe.
Wonder how much money she makes a year.
You look at the BRICS nations, Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, Iran, Egypt, Ethiopia, you know, and the UAE, minus Brazil. Go and look in the Bible and look at all the tribes that are going to come against Israel, and tell me that's not the BRICS.
Oh, I know, but let's look at the history, the contents of the history, though. You got the King David Solomon era, you got the Balfour Declaration, you got the conflict between the Jews and the Arabs, you got the Zionism movement, you got the Israeli independence, the Arab-Israeli war, you got the Arab-Israeli conflict, then you got the Israel today. You know, the two-state solution. So it's just chaos. Sarge, I'm going to hand it over to you. I mean, what do you want to talk about here? I mean, you brought up an interesting prospect last night.
I wanted to ask Sarge something, Joe. With what's going on in Gaza and how that's leveling getting through there. Now, I've heard so much about this, I forget the name of the canal it's where the Suez Canal is to the east of Gaza. To the west, they have access to
Euphrates River.
Peninsula that comes up. Yes, and they want to cut in from the Red Sea to the Mediterranean and take over the entirety of where it actually would shut down the Suez Canal. Is that property? Is that Gaza Strip? What's happened there? Where we're talking about an actual proprietary movement to eliminate whoever's there, to obtain that for that reason, and this happens to fall right in the middle of a bigger conflict that just made it worse?
Sarge, that was for you. Wherever he went. Sarge, you there?
Hey, I'm sorry. I'm on the road. I'm traveling. I'm getting these bad reception areas. I didn't hear the whole question. Can I hear it again, please?
The peninsula the Gaza Strip, if they were to actually obtain that, where they would like to build that canal from the Mediterranean up to the Red Sea to actually cut out the Suez and take over all the trade route through there, basically. Is that why this conflict has gone and it's escalated to a point to this? Because it seems like they were going to do that regardless. Whoever was in the way, they were going to move them out of that spot, but it just happened to be something that's now turned into nearly World War III.
Well, obviously, Gaza being on the Mediterranean, of course, it's amenable to any number of those things that you just mentioned. Of course, that could be it. It could happen. But Gaza, look, the only way that you could possibly say that is likely is if Israel had a direct hand in implementing the attack on October 7th. And then you got to show the evidence that they did. Because they were allowing Gaza to be almost 100% self-governing. They could have taken that money they did to build that extensive tunnel network underneath Gaza with all the fortifications and everything else, and they could have made Gaza into a tourist mecca. People from around the world would have been traveling to Gaza to sit up there and spend tourist dollars to look at that beautiful Mediterranean view. They were self-governing. Israel pulled out in 2005 and gave them even more concessions in 2008. The only thing they wouldn't let them have, since they were not getting reassurances, as Egypt gave them, that the security would be observed, it was that which involves complete sovereignty, meaning the ability to create a genuine armed force and to conduct diplomacy with other nations. Other than that, they had just about everything. Now, if you believe that Israel, now wait a minute, one more thing now. If you believe that Israel engineered this, then that would be all bets off. That means that they want to do what you say. But if they didn't directly engineer this attack, and Hamas decided to do this on their own for whatever reason, because they thought they would get help from Iran or North Korea or China or whomever, if they did that, then that's 1,000% on them. Because they could have had another way out. They could have had another, and they refused to do it. And I would like to remind you, how come their Arab brethren won't do anything for them? Why doesn't anybody want them?
Right.
Yeah.
And I heard today that was exactly the thing. Like Joe had brought up the natural gas situation offshore, but then they were talking about the BRIC situation with Iran, where if that was to go through, you're actually looking at the old Silk Road initiative where that control moves through Iran. Then I don't know. I just, you know what? I'm so frustrated with everything that goes on over there. I'm more than like Sarge says anything. Man, damn it! I'm worried about what's going on here.
Hey, Dave. Look, I'll be 1,000% with you. You show me some evidence that Israel engineered that attack on October 7th as a fig leaf to take Gaza, so they could either engineer something for their own commerce, or that they wanted to do it in order to create some strategic objective. If they do, then I'll be 100% with you against Israel and all they're doing right now, including the IDF actions in Gaza and what they're going to do in Rafah. But I got to see that evidence first. I got to see that first.
Yeah. I just heard about it today for the first time. So, I mean, it's unbelievable what people say. I mean, it's believable. It's believable. I mean, if you look at what could happen.
Well, I'm not dismissing it. Let's put it that way. I ain't going to dismiss it until I know otherwise.
Let's look at the weapons,
but I'm certainly not going to say it's true until I see some evidence of it.
Where did these weapons come from that these Hamas guys had? Where did they come from? They sure look like American weapons to me. I'm going to tell you that right now.
Many of them I think many of them came from Afghanistan. A lot of them came from the international arms market. It's probably a mixture. But I don't know if it's the majority of it, but I know it's a good percentage of it because I'm looking at the type. Those are M4A1 carbines they got in their hand. That has not been in the inventory of the United States Armed Forces that long to have that many on the international arms market. And they had $86 billion worth of military equipment they just got from Afghanistan. Hundreds of thousands of those assault rifles.
I know.
I'm telling you, them cargo ships are landing here. You know, Joe, what I said about them cargo ships, you know, if that's what happens.
Well, yeah.
Now we have, it does not make Biden a criminal, a traitor to smuggling arms, because I sent you, I don't know if you got the video or not, but they had a U.S. Marine in the back of a police car. I don't know what he did, but he was a black guy, and he was in the back of a cop car, and he was talking to a sheriff, and he was telling the sheriff, listen, I need to go see so-and-so, and because I am working with a group that is going to cross the border to let you know that the United States of America government is directly involved with selling arms to the cartels. Now that's out of a Marine's mouth, out of a car lie.
Wow.
You got it.
I wish I had that one.
Hey,
I
you
wish I
ain't
had
got to
that.
convince me of that, man. I know about Fast and Furious. Has everybody forgotten about Fast and Furious? It was legitimately a deliberate plan by the Obama administration to deliberately allow weapons, American weapons sold by American, legitimate American arms sellers, who notified the ATF that there was a straw man purchase, and they were told, don't worry about it, we're monitoring it, we can track all of them, let it go. Now, the Bush administration had done that, but they recovered every single one of the weapons they let go. They had tracking devices in them. The Obama administration didn't get any of them back.
all over again.
Wait a minute.
Arkansas all over again.
Right. The Obama administration didn't get any of those weapons back until they were recovered at crime scenes linked to murders in Mexico and the murder of federal agents.
Wow. Yeah, none of that. Yeah, that's crazy. Hey, I got another caller here who wants to get in here. Let's see who this is. Private caller, go ahead.
Right now, Joe, with that.
Yeah.
I'm going to send you that clip right now, Joe.
All right, don't send it to my phone. Send it to me on Facebook. All right, go ahead there, private caller. Private caller, you're unmuted. Put your hand up. You wanted to talk. Go ahead, private caller. You're unmuted. Whoever wants to speak, speak. All right, I guess they don't want to talk. I'll mute you back up. All right, go ahead. You're muted back up then. All right, there. I don't know. They put their hand up. They pushed one. Maybe they did it by accident. Who knows? If you want to talk, then call back in, I guess. Anyway, I don't know who it is, but listen, maybe we touched on a touchy subject there, huh? That's what gives me about Israel. Did not Netanyahu stage this thing because that natural gas would supply the world 3,000 times over? It's the largest natural gas deposit in the world, and that right there would supply all of Europe, and Israel would be key to doing that, and that would knock Russia out of the box, and that's a good stage and a good prominence for World War III. I'm telling you right now, because Russia, they shut that pipeline down. Russia, oh boy, they're in big trouble. Their economy will be in shambles.
Remember when the Nord Stream 2 got bombed, and it got bombed underwater, and there's only a few people that could do it, and one was Russia, and one was us, and we said, well, we hemmed and hawed about who was doing it, and everybody knew it was us.
Yeah, it was us. Somebody told me that we're in the military. They won't go on record saying it.
Remember what Joe Biden said? Joe Biden said that there's no way that pipe stream is going to continue. He announced that publicly at a speech. He said, there's no way. And then after the hours, don't worry, I'm telling you, it won't continue. Your president said that out loud in public.
The crimes that this government has been involved in, I mean, our hands are dirty over here. How do we clean up the corruption as a people? How can we save face as America? Are we just all finished?
I think it's only going to take one of these high level people to get disciplined for the message to be sent. If somebody has to be hung for treason, then by God, we got to hang somebody for treason. If somebody's got to be put in jail, somebody's got to be put in jail. And it can't be some low level Rundoon. It can't be some low level.
Yeah, I mean, that's the last time you saw anytime you saw anything normalized in Congress was the last time you saw someone actually sat in fear in front of Congress because they were going to be held accountable and probably go to jail or be tried for whatever. Was back then. That's how long it's been. And you know what? Just like this guy with Trump that's got the evidence that he's messed with, if that's a fact, and we have that evidence, just like we have evidence of Biden and all his money and everywhere else, why hasn't his kid been charged with something? I mean, for the love of God, I mean, just on down the line, there's no accountability inside Washington, D.C.
And that's my point. My point is with this trial, with this documents trial down in Florida, there's now evidence that they've doctored evidence, all right? They've planted evidence and all this other stuff. And they can't, and thanks to this Judge Cannon that released a lot of this stuff that you can go out there and release it to the public, you can see where they've doctored the evidence and they've planted the evidence. And I mean, why would
Boy, but if you know what? You get a speeding ticket, don't pay it.
Yep.
And wait a minute, they might have shipped a lot of those documents that they're using against Trump. They might have shipped them to Mar-a-Lago without Trump's knowledge.
Exactly. That's what they're saying.
And there's a good
That's
story.
what Julie Kelly is saying. That's what Julie Kelly is saying.
Joe, I sent it. It's a minute and a half long, Joe. I just sent that to you. It's in there.
All right, let me see it right here real quick. Yeah, that'd be interesting. Let's see what this is. You said this is a Marine or whatever that said he had evidence that the United States is let's see, hang on here, let me pull it up here. Here we go.
This might be your only warning. According to official reports, I'm Mexican. This is an order. And you probably don't believe me. You probably don't even care. And it's okay. But people are getting hurt. And this ties into a whole bunch of stuff. They've been selling our weapons and our fucking military equipment over in Mexico to the cartels. And then I've been able to prove that, and that's why I'm supposed to go back to the Master Chief Petty Officer of Navy, because there's boats. If you ride around into the Vista and go right over there by fucking, what is that called? The industrial plaza, by the food for less, and you'll see there's Navy boats that came from the steel boat installation that they took out, and they're taking them apart and they're taking them across the border. All of that stuff is going across the border, and I'm not lying to you, man.
Well, Marine, I wish you all the luck. Semper Fi. I'm a former Marine myself.
We're going to need a lot more than luck. If those cartel members use that stuff against us, and they are going to use that stuff against us, we're going to need a lot more than luck.
Thank you so much.
Godspeed.
Yeah, you said he's reporting
That is
it. Nobody will do anything.
unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
He's reporting it. Nobody will do a damn thing.
Right. He's doing something. He's in handcuffs.
Yeah.
Somebody's doing something because the guy that's reporting it's going to jail.
Where's that at? San Diego?
I didn't even get to see where it was at, but the fact of the matter is he tells them that, hey, I need to go see so-and-so because I'm supposed to report what's going on because these guys have actually taken apart where the SEAL team have their boats or whatever their storage was at. They are dismantling, taking them apart, and smuggling them across the border to use against us.
Yeah.
Fuck, I want to lose my mind.
A couple of weeks ago, that's what I was saying a couple of weeks ago. Look at the amount of people that are coming across the border with these backpacks, right?
Yeah,
Look at the number of people that are coming across the border with these backpacks.
It's not backpacks that keep supplying this country, Mike. I'm going to tell you that right now. It's not backpacks. It's planes. It's boats. Ships,
Oh, and by the way, Joe, another thing about, people saying the Israelis are being armed by the United States. And, of course, that's true. There are many, they got a domestic arms industry, but much of it does come from the United States. But that's a relatively recent phenomenon. I remember when I was in the National Guard, when I got out of the active duty, I went in the National Guard. And they were combing out our National Guard armies to send Israelis tanks in our inventory, M60A1 tanks that were in our inventory because Israel had all these tank losses, and most of their tanks weren't American. They had some M48s that were kind of old. But most of the newer stuff, they were sending to Israel because we weren't sending them with that much arms. The fighter planes were French-built. They had French-built Mirages and Dassaults. They had, in the Six-Day War, they were using World War II half-track. They bought on the international arms market and Sherman tanks that had been leased on the international arms market. So the United States Army in Israel is relatively recent. For most of Israel's history, they have taken their arms through international arms brokers, not the United States.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's true. Yeah, but the CIA, is involved in all that stuff, also. But this Marine, this was in the Vista, San Diego area, I think. I'm trying to find out. Because I'll tell you what, I'd like to find out what happened with this guy, number one. He's a Marine, so they would have to turn him back over to the Marines, right, Sarge? Can they keep him in civilian court?
No, that's just it now. Now, you see, that's one thing about being in the service, man. They can get you both ways. They can get you for violation of CMJ, and they can get you civilian. Now, if you're a civilian, depending upon If it's wartime, the military's got control of your carcass, but they can waive and give deference to a local authority if they want to prosecute them for something. So it really depends. Mm-hmm. They're going to notify the armed forces that they got him, but unless the armed force has a compelling reason to keep him, he's in the control of the local prosecutor. And then he can be charged again under the UCMJ when they get through with it. It doesn't usually happen, but it could.
Oh, God.
And guys, think about this.
So I'm just saying that it's not. All I'm saying is it ain't an automatic thing that he goes back to the military. Yeah, they're going to notify him, and if the military has a reason, they will go to the U.S. attorney and they'll tell him, hey, look, for a mission, or if he's got some kind of classified knowledge we need to have him back. And the U.S. attorney is going to make a motion to the local prosecutor to let him go, and most of the time, the local prosecutor is going to defer to what the armed forces want if they say they got a good reason for you to let him go and put him back in our custody. But it is the local. Look, man, it's federalism. Federal government just can't come take somebody away from somebody else. I mean, aren't we always talking about state sovereignty? Wait a minute, aren't we always talking about state sovereignty?
Yeah. Yeah, well, Mike was trying to ask.
So, I mean, that is a matter for state sovereignty. I mean, they got their laws, and federal government just can't run roughshod over them.
Well, I don't know where it's all. But got my whole mind going in berserk right now. Go ahead, there's Mike. You want to say something?
Yeah, just remember this: when somebody, remember what was it, about 10, 12 years ago, whatever it is, under Obama, when we were again having problems with our border. And there was these two guys that were border agents, Ramos and Campion. And I believe Ramos shot somebody, shot an illegal. Well, what happened to them? They both went to jail for it.
Well, that's why you got to be careful getting involved in that kind of stuff down there, man.
You get to go to jail because you do your job.
It says right here, most thing I can find is the prosecutors dropped most of the charges against most of the Marines that were charged with crimes down there at the border. So it's a whole host of them. You got human smuggling going on down there. You got I can't find anything with this particular Marine. Who knows? He probably could have disappeared. He probably could have went back into the service and they shipped him overseas someplace. And that's it. Now, who's going to listen to him over in Kuwait?
I mean, let's face it, man. The U.S. attorney got a lot of leverage. You can get to a local prosecutor and say, hey, we need this done, X, Y, and Z, or I'll give you this if you do it. But the point I'm trying to make, though, is they just can't run roughshod, just come in and take him out of the cell. They got to go through some kind of motion, some kind of pseudo-legalistic motions to get him back.
They've done it, Sarge. They've done it. The CIA was coming in.
Well, I'm sure they have. I don't doubt it. I don't doubt that for a minute. In fact, I know they have, personally.
But they can't stop warrants and stuff. You're right. I know. They can't stop that. It's like with that Barry Seal case or whatever. He was labeled as a drug dealer. They got him out of Colombian jail. They shipped him. He went there. They stalled the warrant, held it up, and he was able to move his family to freaking Mena, Arkansas. They relocated him. Now while they're raiding his house, he's on a transport plane shipping cocaine down the United States.
It's corruption, man. It's all over the place. Ain't no doubt about the corruption.
Con Air? That movie?
No, not Con Air. No. That had nothing to do with it. This was it had to do with Oliver North and everything. Mena, Arkansas.
I think, Mena. Yeah, the movie I'm thinking about. That was
Con Air. That was a comedy. That was a comedy. That movie there. That was with
the other one about Barry Seal was like American Made or something.
American Made. That was Tom Cruise. But that doesn't tell the whole truth. That just it's an acting job though. Really I like documentaries for that. I mean, some of it's true, but he's not screwing his wife on the plane and everything. Come on.
No. It's been proven that a lot of these movies that are made with the express permission of the government and things like the FBI and the CIA. If the CIA doesn't want you to tell the whole story about Mena, Arkansas, you're not going to do it.
Well, all that's been exposed now over the years, but years later, really the truth started coming out, I think, around 1996 and 1999, that vicinity. I remember because I heard about that, man, when they were talking to me, the ATF and the other people there that I was working with. They said, they were like, well, we got some planes, they want to ask me, they want to know if I had any flying experience. That's what they asked me. I said, nope. Which I don't, because they were looking for people at that time. This was 1990, 91, 92, because they were with Pablo Escobar and crap. They were looking for people to fly crap out of this. They were getting rid of him. So.
Well, what Mike was talking about just a minute ago is extortion. I suppose the government can extort you when they're not doing something. But if they want to have, if you want to get government cooperation in the form of personnel, property, facilities, if you want that, then you got to submit your script to whatever department it is, and they got to look at it, and they got to approve it. That's why a lot of production companies want to tell something that might offend the government, do it independently with people who got all this gear that is actually what stuff that the government's got. They don't have to ask the government permission to do it. But, the government can extort you, but extorting you is a crime, too. Now, if they're extorting movie producers not to do something, certain of them with exposing something that's extortion, that's a crime. Now, the question is anybody going to expose the crime committed by the government with regard to extorting people?
Yeah. Well, that was based on a true story. It was.
Right. If they allow you to make the movie, you can book it that it's propaganda. A lot of it's going to be propaganda.
Well, no, it's not that they allow them, Mike. I mean, look at the movie Goodfellas. That was Henry Hill. That was 100% accurate. Actually, Henry Hill even said that. He said that was 100% accurate of how his lived in
look at all the war musicals back in World War II. That was a lot of it was propaganda.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, look, I'm not going to blame the government for propaganda in the midst of an existential war. I mean, you're right. It was. Much of it was. I mean, but some of the better war films from that era kind of minimize the propaganda and put it in the background and tell the story. Some of it is just blatant propaganda. Some of it is feel-good propaganda. Like, I don't know if you've ever seen that musical, This Is the Army, starred Ronald Reagan and what's this other guy, this other famous vaudeville guy he was in it too.
I used to like Ronald Reagan. I really liked Ronald Reagan. But I tell you what, man, a lot of crap happened, man, when he was president, and I just can't. Why he didn't stand up against it, I don't know. Maybe he was senile, I don't know, man. But, when him and his wife were giving a speech at 8 o'clock in the whole country, and the guy's flying cocaine into the country, while he's giving a speech.
Well, look, okay. Like I said, it's like we said. How many times have I said this, Joe? Ain't no one man getting us out of this mess. I don't say that, but you know how much I'm supporting Donald Trump. I don't believe he's going to get the country out of this mess. Like I said, the ship of state is headed for a sinking. The whole place are busted in and water's gushing in. We got to get the bilge pumps running, got to get damage control and shore up the whole place, put mattresses in all the gashes, stop the damn water coming in, and then limp that motherfucker back to dry dock. Put it up in dry dock and start fixing it. Because that's all I'm looking for right now is somebody who will do damage control. Damage control.
Yeah. I don't think we can.
Do you really think? I do not think any one person is going to save us from the mess we've been getting in for the last 60 to 100 years.
Sarge, I just called the senator's office. And she gave me no answers at all. None.
No, you're not going to get
any. And Cave said the perfect thing. He said, how many times have you done that and you've gotten no answers? Where I've spoken to so many of these people live, you've been on the phone even. I mean, come on. They just don't answer any of my questions.
To your point, Sarge, in World War II, what happened when the Enterprise got damaged? They sent it back stateside, they refitted it, and they put a fucking tornado blister on the bottom of to help
torpedo blister, right?
To help protect it. And it came back even stronger than ever. That's what we need to happen. I mean, I'll make a big deal when we see fucking Fannie Willis sitting there excuse my language, with her flag lapel pin flying upside down because that means something. That means something. Or that's supposed to mean something.
Oh, you ask her, she'll tell you what it means. It means that she is the sentinel guarding us against the threat to democracy that Donald Trump is. That's what that crazy numbskull believes.
Yep.
You can see the light of fanaticism in her eyes. She actually believes it. She's a fanatic.
Hang on, guys. Let me see who this person is. Yeah, private caller. Go ahead. You want to say something? Hello? Hello? Got your hand up. Hello? No. They just want to listen, I think. All right. He got the one up. He put your hand up. So anyway, he's annoying. All right. Anyway. All right. So anyway, when you press 1, I'm going to unmute you. Okay. If you just want to listen, don't press 1. All right, guys. Okay. Go ahead. I'm sorry. But anyway, go ahead.
But Joe, like I said, you can see the gleam of fanaticism in this crazy woman's eyes. I mean, she actually believes that Trump is that democracy. That's why she's flying her flag upside down. She's making a statement that she's on the right side of God and history. That's all it is. She's a fanatic. I mean, I'll tell you, look, it's like this thing with this author of this sexual assault survivors bill that he's now caught up in, heist on his own petard. He's one of the co-authors that sponsored the damn thing, getting it through, and now all of a sudden it's being used against his dirty, low, good, rotten ass. I tell you, man, some things are just so fitting. You have to say it must have been divine intervention. They passed that bill just to get Donald Trump. That's why they put a statute of limitations, expiration date on it, just to get Donald Trump, just to get him. Yeah. And they put a statute of expiration date on it, and this woman filed this lawsuit against this guy just under the wire before the expiration date came up. It's too good.
So what's going to happen to Donald Trump, you think, then? That you want to talk about?
You're right with the look. You're right. You're right with the look in Fannie Willis' eye, but it's the same look that's in Jack Smith's eye. It's the same look that's in Big Tish James's eye. It's the same look that's in.
All those players don't mean nothing, though. All those people are nothing.
They got the same damn look. They got the same damn look.
They don't mean nothing. They're just on the same side.
They're unhinged. The Trump derangement syndrome and their ideological fervor has unhinged them. They're absolutely unhinged.
These college campuses that are rioting, when Trump gets elected, if he's elected, what do you think's going to happen? The whole country's going to go nuts. These Democrats think he's going to be a dictator. They said he's never going to leave office. They're nuts.
Well, here's the deal, though. What's going to happen is, and I guarantee you this is what's going to happen, that the moment he gets elected and sworn in, he's going to say, any riot that takes place, I'm taking the thing of saying you're going to be an insurrectionist. Any of these rioters. That's what's going to happen.
He can say whatever he wants. I mean, the bottom line is, though, that's not going to save your Dollar Generals in your town from burning down. You know,
no,
they're going to burn down every city across this country.
What, according to their definition of what an insurrectionist is, right, is a person that tries to delay the general operations of a government, right? Well, that's what the summer of love was.
Strategically places these people, Mike, in cities that will not prosecute them. They're not going to get prosecuted. Okay, these cities are picked out, hand-picked.
But you see, if they happen to go and attack a federal courthouse in, say, Portland again, or any of his little cities again, I will bet you I will bet you he will put together the Insurrection Act, and it will be a federal crime because they're attacking that courthouse again.
It already is a crime. It already is, Mike, a crime. I'm trying to ask you straight.
But again, he didn't. Again, the point is he didn't do this last time. He doesn't have
the power. It's not his job.
He could have said it.
He can't do that, Mike.
But he didn't. That's my point. My point is, he didn't do it the last time. He's going to do it this time, and that's what they're
the
afraid
president
of.
of the United
They're
States
afraid
does not
of-
have no power. No, it's up to the states to handle this. It's the governors. The governors have to handle it.
Wait a minute. No, Joe. Wait a minute, Joe. When you attack a federal courthouse, you are committing a federal crime. That is an insurrection when you're trying to stop the proceeding of a federal court. That is it would be appropriate to invoke the insurrection clause against whoever they arrest for that.
What's that? What's the insurrection clause then, guys? What's that? What's going to happen?
I'm just saying, if a federal courthouse has proceedings. Now, if the court is not in session, then no, it's not going to apply. But if you're doing it for purposes of stopping the court from... Huh?
They burn him down at night.
Yeah, but it was... I'm sorry.
But
I'm trying to tell you that it doesn't matter.
At that point in time, if I recall, at that point in time, that particular federal court was in session. Even though it was at nighttime, it was in session. There were people working there. There were people doing their jobs. It was in session. All right?
Well, at the very least, it's attacking federal property, and you don't need a state governor to invoke federal laws involving destruction and vandalism of state property. That's completely within the federal jurisdiction.
It's up to the
that's
governor.
Completely within the federal. But that's completely within the federal government's jurisdiction. They don't need to ask permission.
What can the government? Listen. My question is, what power does the federal government have? You think to go in and stop people from protesting? What power do you think they have?
Throwing missiles at security officers there to protect the property, aiming laser beams at their eyes, shattering windows, has nothing whatsoever to do with protest. That's vandalism. That's not protest. What the First Amendment says? Peaceably assemble. You're not peaceably assembling when you're trying to blind federal officers, when you're throwing rocks and breaking things, when you're busting down the fences that the federal government paid money to put up. That's vandalism. That's damage to property.
You're telling me what the protesters are doing. You're not answering my question. You're not answering my question. What can the federal government do?
The federal government has to protect your right to protest peaceably.
How?
You don't have a right to trespass. You don't have a right to commit vandalism. You don't have a right to resist arrest. You don't have a right to attack law enforcement officers. That's not part of the right to protest.
What are they going to do to stop it? What can they do?
They either invoke the law or they let it continue. That's the choices they got. Let it continue untrammeled.
What's going to happen?
Or go ahead and enforce the law like you're obligated to.
All right, they invoke the law. What happens now?
What do you mean?
Okay, they invoke the law. What happens now? What happens? The magic cloud comes out of the sky and everybody stops? What happens?
You arrest them and you let the chips fall. You make it. For each one of the people you arrest. Wait a minute. For each one of the people you arrest, you fill out a charge sheet. If it's a misdemeanor, you assign it a court date. Well, I'm talking about where I work. That's what you would do. I don't know what they do in the jurisdiction they're doing it in. You fill out a court sheet, and
who's going to arrest them?
If it's a felony, you put it to the grand jury, or you take them before a judge for an arraignment the next day, and the judge will set bail on.
Okay. I tell you who's going to arrest them. Trump
Trump and his magical
didn't have enough people there. They took the sheriff's office in Portland.
Nope. Stop. No, the sheriff is not under the jurisdiction of the President of the United States. He cannot order the sheriff to do anything.
Wait a minute, Joe. Most states have laws that attacking any building, and oftentimes they'll use words like any governmental building. They say any, not just state, but any governmental building is also crime under state statutes. And if that's true, then that sheriff is obligated to enforce that law as well. Depends on. That's why I keep telling everybody, you got to read the law. You got to read the law to determine who's got what jurisdiction and what the authority is.
What the answer I'm looking for is, is he going to send federal troops in there? National Guard, soldiers.
He can.
Oh, hell no. It's not Sarge. He cannot.
No. Once again, declare martial law? That's not true. Read what the policy commentaries act. Remember, I had to instruct posse comitatus when I was a National Guard operations sergeant. I had to instruct people in that posse comitatus because it was possible we could call it and enforce martial law, both state and federal. And we had to have, at the very least, NCOs and officers aware of what it was. I had to do lesson plans. I had to submit to the Judge Advocate General to make sure they were correct. I mean, the JAG officer in our battalion. And he looked at us, okay.
No way, man. I don't want federal troops. I don't want them marching around. No way.
Here's what I'm saying. The president has the authority to order federal troops to protect federal property. It is not a violation of the Posse Comitatus Act.
Federal property. I'm talking about my neighborhood.
The Comitatus Act forbids enforcing ordinary civil law. That's what it forbids. Not protecting federal property.
Okay,
so
let me just.
It is in the government's interest to protect federal property.
The government's interest.
It is within his authority to order them to do so.
All right. Let me ask you this. Let me do this. I'm in Greensboro, North Carolina. We got Trump just got elected. All right, BLM or the Antifa, they start protesting. They're burning down cars, burning down Kmart or the stores and everything. All right, and now it spreads city. What is Trump going to do to stop it?
Trump can't do anything to stop it until he has requested federal assistance by the executives or the legislature of the state where the troops are to be deployed. With absent that permission or that request, he can't send federal troops in there. Period. End of story.
Troops.
Okay.
You want troops?
Here's the question
on the street.
Joe. Here's the question, Joe.
I said that the request has to come from the state authorities to the federal government to commit troops there. States have to ask for them. If they don't ask for them, the president cannot commit them to that job. Now, here's the one exception to that rule. If those governments are destroyed or held hostage and there is no one to make the request because they've either been killed or they've been held hostage or whatever, then the president, at his discretion and his authority, can commit them because they're incapable of functioning.
So we're going to have Apache helicopters flying above with 50 caliber machine guns shooting people? Get out of here. I don't want no Army troops on American streets.
25 millimeter chain guns, but I get your point.
Yeah, all right.
Okay, but look, man, all I'm saying is that, look, the Constitution is not meant to not give any authority to government. It was enumerate what the powers of the government are. That's what it's for.
No. It's to restrain the government.
You're supposed to be limited to those enumerated powers.
It was to restrain the government. Okay, Mike's trying to say something. Go ahead, Mike.
So to your point, you can make an argument that what you just said actually was happening in both Seattle and Portland because both of those two governments were afraid of the BLM people. And that
well, see, that's not women. Mike, I understand fully your point. In spirit, I'm completely with you on that one. But legally, that's not going to hold up because cowardice is no reason for the president to seize authority over local government just because they're a bunch of cowards.
Right. And my point, I have another point. Joe, where you're in North Carolina, right? Where is the closest federal courthouse to where you are?
Greensboro, North Carolina.
Okay, so
Greensboro.
Let's just put the same situation that was happening in Portland to Greensboro, and that particular courthouse in Greensboro. And there's
we have a police department and a sheriff's department down here.
Well, yeah,
we don't need federal troops.
It's a federal courthouse, right? And there's a riot going on, and the federal court, the people that they put up the fences, and they're trying to pull down the fences, and they're throwing firecrackers, and they're throwing different things, you know.
Well, all right. So what about January 6th then? What about January 6th? What about those protesters? Do they have a right to do that then? I mean, to do what they did?
No, they're subject to be arrested for that too. And there's no the law is not supposed to be subjective. The law is supposed to be objectively applied to anybody who violates it.
Well, wait a second, Sarge. Wait a second. Time out here. We were just talking about how corrupt the government is. Doesn't the Constitution say that we have a right to alter or abolish?
Okay, see, now you're talking about something else, Joe. Now you're talking about the natural law right of rebellion, and that means that ain't got nothing to do with the law as it exists.
Well, what's the natural? Well, where do we draw the line then? How far do you go?
Here's where you draw the line. Here's where you draw the line, Joe. What consequences for your actions are you willing to accept? Because that's what it is. Now it comes down to your individual conscience and what you decide you're willing to accept when the government retaliates against you, particularly based on the law. What are you willing to accept?
All right, hang on. Time out. The founders were going to be hung if they lost, right? We can bet for sure they're all going to be hung.
They violated the law.
Okay.
That's exactly the point I'm trying to make. What are you willing to risk?
My life.
The founders knew it. Why do you think they said things like we will all hang together or we'll all hang separately? Why do you think they use phrases like we pledge our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor? Because that's what they were doing, and they understood the stakes. Let's not be cavalier about this. They weren't.
Okay.
They knew what they were up against. That's why I admire them so much. That's why I admire them so much, Joe, because they knew what they were getting into. And they didn't expect to be caught.
Hang on. So we were talking about the government being corrupt. How do we fix this mess thing? Do you think we're going to go vote? Okay. And all of a sudden, we're going to get a good guy?
It's like I said, Joe, we got a couple ways to do it. We can do it either the constitutional, legal, lawful means, and we still have those routes available, or you can just invoke your natural law right of rebellion and let's see what happens. That's pretty much the way you fix it.
Yes,
and
Mike,
Joe, and I just want to point this out. What was happening in 2020 were not protests. They were riots.
Not for most of the people there, Mike. Most of the people there were peaceful. It was only about 1,000 of them out of 100,000 people in the Capitol. It was truly a mostly peaceful demonstration. It wasn't like the lies that the mainstream press made up about the Summer of Love.
Exactly.
The people who went to the Capitol, it was 100,000. Do you think that the Capitol Police could have stopped 100,000 people determined to break into the Capitol? No way possible. Most of them were simply peaceful. It was about 1,000 to 1,200 of them who did that, no more.
I'm not talking about January 6th. I'm talking about the quote Summer of Love. I'm talking about
Summer of Love. They were not mostly peaceful. They were mostly violent.
That's what I'm saying. Those people were trying to pull down the fences and all that stuff and doing all that stuff. In fact, they were freaking burning. They were setting actual dumpster fires. All right.
All right. Well.
But let's be clear. Let's just remember, guys, what the framers and the founders of this country did. Like I said, their lives, their fortunes, and their sacred honor were on the line, because once they sent that Declaration of Independence to King George, it wasn't no turning back. They were traitors to the crown. And if they failed, most of them would have been hanged or in dungeons for the rest of their lives. And they knew it.
Back to Israel then. All right, so back to Israel and all this influence they have over our government and whatnot, and Hamas and everything, and these college campuses, these riots that are going on, and America, where our money's going. We're funding Israel. We're sending billions of dollars, or they're sending it to Ukraine. Now, stop all the funding over there? Well, I mean, what's the right thing to do here? Who's our allies? And we have to have allies in today's world. We do. I mean, I know we care about America first, but man, we can't isolate ourselves either. We'll be attacked. I mean, America's not, can't be. We're strong, and most likely most countries are not going to. If the whole world converged against us, we'd be screwed. But I'm just saying, what can we do?
Well, look, Joe. Right now, Israel gets $4 billion a year from the United States in accordance with the treaty and the Camp David Accord. I submit to you that it's more than enough money so they can come to us and as the international arms dealer, the United States selling whatever weapons they want to buy from us. They spend their own money on it. I don't think they need a special appropriation to get their arms. We shouldn't interfere with their actions in Gaza as long as they're being conducted in accordance with the laws of war. Let them do what they got to do so we don't get dragged into it.
Okay. All I'm going to give you prophecy right now, okay? Hang on. I'm going to give you prophecy, okay? Remember, a couple of years ago, the Prime Minister of Israel said, we have the Samson option, okay? You know what that is, obviously, okay? Now, when Russia attacks Israel, they're going to overrun Israel, and they're going to light that nuclear bomb off in Damascus, and bam! That's it. And you're going to, and that's what's going to happen. I'm going to tell you that right now. It's coming. It's all for me. Next spring or the spring after, it's going to happen. You're going to see that happen. It's going to happen. It's been foretold. You know, unless we wake up and stop this nonsense. And I don't see any peaceful solution to that Middle East problem. I don't see it.
Tell me something, Joe.
Like
Joe, do you think
we're going to head to World War III.
But Joe, do you think that Hamas is a hill that Russia's ready to die on? Because I don't think it is.
No. But when they wipe out Hamas and they take back control of that area, that natural gas that they're going to have access to immediately is going to be on the open market, and Russia's going to get knocked out of the box because they got so many sanctions against them, okay? And then that's what's going to happen. And then the economy is going to be shut down in Russia. That economy will crumble if that happens because Russia supplies through their pipeline all of Europe's natural gas, all of it. And if they shut down that pipeline, that's it. Russia's screwed. I'm telling you, they will go to war over that. Putin will go to war. He will attack Israel. He will.
Well, if Putin does that, then I suppose we'll be obligated to do it. I can't see any way out of it. I don't know if he's going to.
No, we abandoned Israel at that time.
Look, it's going to take a while. It's going to take a while to get that up and running. You know, even if that.
Oh no. 10 months. Dude. They've already got everything all lined up and ready to go. Plus, they got
built a couple of years.
Well, listen, there's something
else. And in the
else.
meantime, that gives Russia. Well, in the meantime, I'll say a couple of years. And in the meantime, Russia's got a couple of years to jockey around to adjust their economy and the way they're dealing on the commodities market in order to be able to check their economy. I don't think it's as cut and dry as you put it.
Well, again, according to the Bible, it says that this rapture thing or whatever, or this intervention of God is supposed to happen in the spring. So, and that's according to the Song of Solomon and everything else. So that's what they say.
Right.
So springtime, it's not going to happen this spring, I don't think. But never know.
Look. I just want to say this, Joe. It's going to be two different attacks on Israel because it's not just going to be Russia and Turkey and the rest of those people. It's going to be China and the kings of what essentially is the kings of the rising sun. All right.
Well, I don't know if China's got too much of a stake in there. I think North Korea and China will supply them with the weapons, but North Korea's already doing that.
Well, Iran sure does. Iran sure has got a stake in it.
Yes, they'll be involved. Persia's involved. Persia's involved. That's what it says. How is Turkey involved, though? That's what I want to know. I don't hear about them too much.
If we somehow get out of Ukraine and Russia's allowed to complete that land bridge and rebuild that pipeline that we blew up, well, I don't know about that either. I don't know. Ukraine is a subject that really it's just been a war-torn country since, how long now, Sarge? Jeez, especially since the 20th century there. How many people,
Oh, man, please don't remind me. Ukraine is just a country just riddled with misery and death ever since, certainly since the 20th century.
Imagine the ghosts rolling around over there, all the demons and ghosts and spirits. Oh, my Lord. I didn't buy a house over there.
The only other country I can think of in Western Europe that suffered more than Ukraine is Poland. I can't think of any other country that has much misery and death inflicted on it from the 20th century to now as Ukraine.
So do we stay backing Israel, you think? I mean, what do we do? We stay as a country backing Israel or the people of Israel or the land of Israel? I mean, because there's two different really controls over in Israel. You got the evil bastards over there, the Zionists. They're called, how do we, I want to examine that, the Zionism. I mean, what is this Zionism crap which I know it's evil, but, how much control do they really have? I know the Catholic Church, the Roman Empire is involved in this somehow, but how much control does the Zionists really have, Sarge? I mean, over world politics.
Well, why don't we go back? Why don't we go back to the beginning of the Zionist the public beginning of the Zionist controversy in the late 19th century.
1896, right?
When they started having the Zionist, what did they say? I mean, I think you need to start there and see what was said at the Congress, what their intentions were, what their votes were. Yeah. For instance, they voted on making Uganda the homeland for the Jews, and that was the brainchild of the president of the conference.
It was Madagascar.
It was both. It was Madagascar and Uganda, and that was the brainchild of Theodore Herzl, who was the president of the Congress, Zionist Congress, but it was overwhelmingly voted down by the voting measure. They didn't want that. They wanted the what they considered to be the traditional land of Israel in Asia Minor in the Levant. That's what they wanted. Again, Herzl was strongly behind it. He was the president. He was the single most influential member who supported it. But the rest of the members overwhelmingly voted against it. They didn't want it. They wanted what they saw as the original homeland. So that really didn't have much of a chance of succeeding.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we can always play Monday morning quarterback when it comes to history. But let me tell you, we've made a lot of wrong decisions over the years. Have we made any right decisions since the Founding Fathers? You know, the Civil War, that was a goof.
Hey, it's become the greatest country in the history of mankind without doing a few things right. So let's not knock the United States too much, huh? You got to do one or two things right.
Think about this. We here don't want to be embroiled in foreign wars, but again, what got us involved in World War One? It was a lie told by Woodrow Wilson during the election. It said, "I'm not going to get us into World War One." Right? Okay. No more foreign wars, right? And he said,
No, that was after World War One. They said that.
But no. He said that before. He said it in 1915. But look, but Mike, you got to cut Woodrow some slack. Now, he's probably, arguably, my least favorite president outside of Joe Biden. I can't stand Woodrow Wilson. He was a racist Democrat. He hated the Constitution. He said he hated the Constitution. He was a petty tyrant, and in the last year of his office, his wife was running the presidency. So I do not like Woodrow Wilson at all. But look, I got to cut him some slack, Mike, when two things happened that kind of forced his hand. Number one, you had the Zimmerman telegram to Mexico from the German foreign minister saying that if you enter into a war on the side of Germany, we will give you back Arizona and all those lands that they took from you in 1847. And then they resumed unrestricted submarine warfare in the Atlantic after they said they weren't going to do it, after they sank the Lusitania. So, I mean, his hand was kind of forced in that regard. So he went to Congress, like presidents are supposed to do, and he asked Congress for a declaration of war, and they gave it to him. Mm-hmm. So as much as I don't like Woodrow Wilson, I got to admit, I wouldn't see any other president not doing what they did. Remember, the Zimmerman telegram was importuning Mexico to attack the United States, to hold our forces off in the event we got involved in World War I. So we'd have to have a lot of troops to deal with Mexico and couldn't send them over to France.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's true,
but
I guess.
Also, this Woodrow Wilson guy was a known racist. Was a known racist.
Oh, he was god awful. He was awful. I truly can't stand Woodrow Wilson. Truly.
Hey, anybody see that video real quick? Just change the subject of the pack of dogs that attacked that guy on Twitter or in TikTok there. Pack of dogs, and the cop shot the dogs. Anybody see that video? That's just crazy.
No, I didn't see it.
The pack of dogs? Oh, yeah, man. A pack of dogs just attacked this guy walking. They started eating him alive, man. And a couple people tried to help him, actually. And the dogs attacked them. And the cop was just sitting there in his car watching. You know, finally he gets out and he shot a couple of the dogs. You see the dogs flopping around on the ground.
There are people on our side that are making a big deal about, what's her name, shooting an aggressive dog.
I know.
No. You know, and who the hell cares about that?
Well,
the ship of state.
Speaking of animal rights there, Mike. Speaking of animal rights, Gorilla Little Joe died. So.
Oh, my gosh.
You know what?
COVID
we got a commander-in-chief who let his dog bite Secret Service agents and everybody else in the White House. He didn't do anything about that dog. That damn dog's up there biting and drawing blood from everybody in sight. And Joe Biden didn't do a damn thing about it.
I'm the biggest pit bull advocate in the world, and I got 2 of them myself, and I'll tell you what, dogs are a good sense of people that are pieces of shit. And usually when they bite somebody, there's a reason for it, unless they're just absolutely rabid. And people better start buying pit bulls and get them out of the shelter, because if these sons of bitches are coming across the border like they are, that might be your only defense as the dog.
Yeah, you might got a point there.
Hey,
a mother of 4 killed in head-on collision.
Hey,
DUI crash with guys, illegal alien.
I've watched more people had a gun pointed at them by law enforcement and challenged that officer. I've seen where people will actually stop running, hit their knees, and pray to God, don't let the dog bite me when they hear they're going to turn the dog loose. Now, how stupid can you be?
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah. Well,
K-9 unit is going to get turned loose. You're going to get the dog on you. No, don't bite me. But they'll stand there and get shot. Dumbass.
Yeah, I know. Oh, yeah, I know. People are scared of dogs. You can fight off a dog. 41% of Americans right now think we'll be in a civil war by 2029. So
it ain't gonna be civil. It's
gonna
be revolutionary.
Yeah, it's gonna be ugly. They all are. They all are.
What do you think about that? That's crazy, huh? I mean, that's the worst it's ever been. I mean, something bad's gonna happen. I mean, something's gonna happen. I mean, something's gonna break. I think it's gonna all happen when Trump's elected.
I'm about to close on my house. And receive a nice chunk of money. What fucking bank do I trust? Buy gold. Well, you know what, though, Joe? I thought about that, and I've been thinking. Who's to say I don't go get fake gold? How can you determine, I'm saying, on a level when it comes down to that?
Oh, I know they do. Yeah.
Right.
I know they do that.
Right.
Yep, they rip people off.
So, I mean, man. I'm going to go buy muscle cars and guns.
Buy a mobile home, man. That's the best thing you can do. Buy a mobile home case.
Fast and Furious 12.
Hey, I got a couple of finely built AR-15s I'm looking to unload. You might want to look me up. I got one of them is chambered at 300 blackout. One of them is chambered 300 blackout. The other's 5.56 NATO. So if you're looking for something at a good bargain, hey, I'll throw in 3 magazines and 250 rounds of ammo too with each one.
I'll tell you what.
What's the price on those?
Joe, give me the information for him, because I'll be talking to him real soon, and we'll have ourselves a transaction sold.
What's the price on those?
And if you want, I can. You can pay for one of those strip law receivers from Palmetto State Armory with all the custom logos on it. Like I got one that is a Joe Biden special. It's called an AR-14, and it shows a pony soldier with a helmet, like dog-faced pony soldier. It says on it, and then where the selector lever settings are on one side, it says demented, senile, and full crazy, and on the other side it says something else. I can set up, get a strip law receiver, and I just put the parts in it for you.
Sorry, you said you were looking for 30 caliber. I thought one time M1
yeah, I got
30 caliber.
This one. Well, the one of the AR-15s I want to unload is in 300 blackout, which is it's a trimmed down.
I want one of them. I need one of those.
Yeah,
I got
it's a trimmed down 5.56 cartridge. They neck it so it'll take a 30 caliber bullet, the same one they use in the M14. But it's got a little bit less powder charge.
They're listening to my phones now. That's it. They're listening to my phones now.
It ain't like this. No secret. And by the way, if we transfer all this, I'm gonna transfer it through a FFL. I'll pay for the FFL transfers, and the federal government ain't gonna have damn thing to say about it.
That's right. You can't do shit. That's right. Do it right. I want to do it right. I don't want no trouble. Right. I don't want no trouble. You know what?
Me either. I know how these feds work with this crap.
That's right. You got to be a good bootlicker. Be a good bootlicker.
I think we're already.
I'm only messing with you.
I could be wrong, Sarge, but I think we're already at war with China. I mean,
no.
It's
not yet.
Digitally, we could be. We probably should be saying World War IV, actually. If it's going to be hands-on, boots on the ground, it'd probably be World War IV, right? Because we've been fighting an information war for, 10 years now. Solid.
Right.
Yeah.
And talk about, look, here's the deal. And we all know what an asymmetric war is when one side has something that doesn't, that the other side does not have, right? And the ability to prosecute a war in that fashion, right? So go back.
Yeah.
If you go back and you look at that picture of Washington crossing the Delaware, all right? Go back and look at it. What does Washington have on his? What does he have on him, on his person? He has a telescope, right? In that building, he has a telescope. And what's he using that telescope to do? He's using it to look on the land and see where all the people are, or where all the gun emplacements are. That's something that those people, those Hessians and stuff, did not have. That they weren't prepared for. That they weren't prepared that he would have that telescope to tell them exactly what was.
No, they had those back then, right, Sarge? Lots of people had those, right? The militiamen even had those, right?
No. I mean, the telescope was a well used instrument for reconnaissance. Besides, George Washington had plenty of reconnaissance and intelligence prior to crossing the Delaware. He knew what the Hessian strength was. He knew where their emplacements were, and most importantly, he knew most of them were going to be drunk from celebrating Christmas Eve. So that's why he knew he was going to get along. All he had to do was surprise him, which he did.
Well,
and it was a big
that's true. Well, let's give the closing thoughts to tonight's show.
Washington had plenty of reconnaissance and intelligence information to plan that attack, and it was planned perfectly.
All right, guys, let's do the closing thoughts of tonight's show. For one thing, let me start first here. But where does old Alaskan at? Boyd, huh? Boyd, you mad at me because I told Cat off the other night? Was that what is going on? He's always tuned in. Don't see him here. Where's Lori Ann? Where's she at? I'm going to stop going to other people's shows. I'm going to stop telling other people to call. I tell a lot of people to call into everybody else's show, so I see Donnie's here. Donnie's, I always listen to Donnie's show. I'm going to stop listening to other people's podcasts. That's it. I got other things I can do.
I don't know. I don't think they're mad at you about that show. I mean, I just couldn't call in for whatever reason. I mean, Lori doesn't call in that much on the weekends. I mean, the weekdays anyway.
Yeah. Well, it's still though. We're supposed to be supporting each other. On the podcast shows. That's that was the goal that we all agreed to. If we're going to make a change, our voices have to come together. Otherwise it's not going to happen. And if we're fighting over petty stuff like we're doing here, then you know what? Well, we got no nerve talking about the Republicans and Democrats. Then we're just as bad. We're doomed, Sarge. I know you're loyal, Sarge, but I know Cave is, but Cam. Oh, well, closing thoughts. Go ahead, Cave, you go first since you were the first caller tonight. Go ahead, and then Mike, and then Sarge can wrap it up.
Well,
Cave?
I'd like to say, first off, Sarge, me and you, we got business to handle. That will be done, sold, and put it in the book. I'll get your information, or you can give it to Joe, and he can send it to me. And basically, like Joe just said, you know what, the way everybody wants to talk and argue, if the way I see it is, if I offended you because I bring the facts, then you needed it, and I yield.
Amen. Go ahead, Mike.
Okay, I will end up where I began and just say this: what Judge Cannon is doing down there in Florida is a brave thing to do. She's bringing out the truth, and if they hold these other hearings, these evidentiary hearings, that's going to push that crowd to the point of it probably isn't going to take place before the election. And hell, she may decide to friggin' drop the case altogether,
I doubt that. Yeah, maybe. Okay.
No, evidentiary hearing is going to tie up things for a while, so that's true.
Sarge, your floor. Go ahead.
Look, like I say, guys, it's like I repeatedly say, we did not arrive at the perilous state we're in overnight. It took a while to get us here. It really did. It's like I said, at least 60, more like 100 years in the making of where we're at now. So it's going to take a while to get out from under it, and that's what we got to realize. Like I said, it's like eating an elephant. You got to eat an elephant one bite at a time. That's the only way you can eat the damn thing. It's big, and it's going to take a while. And I think that what we need now is to realize that we got to look at objectives, and achieve objectives one at a time, or as many as we can simultaneously, in order to get to where we want, the restoration of the Constitutional Republic. It's going to be a long, hard slog, or the other alternative is an outright revolution, and we don't know how that's going to end up if it goes to that point. And I prefer not to do that if we do it the other way.
Amen, Sarge. Amen. Now my turn. All right. Hang on here. Let's see.
Well, I don't have money, but what I do have are a very particular set of skills. Skills I've acquired over a very long career. Skills that make me a nightmare for people like you. But if you don't, I will look for you. I will find you.
I will find you.
And I will kill you.
I will kill you. That's my closing thought for tonight, everybody. Anyway, thanks for guys for joining me tonight. I appreciate it. Take care. God bless the Republic.
Thanks a lot, you guys. Talk to you later. No weapons of mass destruction were found.
Are you kidding me? Do you buy that? There were. Nya.
I was 5 and he was 6. We rode on horses made of sticks. He wore black and I wore white.
Come on, let's shoot. Claire.
Bang, bang.
Hey, I need to get the brass to drop ramps. I got a wounded girl. We need to take the rest of mine.
Oh, it's their fault for bringing their kids to a battle. That's right.
The main reason we went into Iraq at the time was we thought he had weapons of mass destruction. It turns out he didn't, but he had the capacity to make weapons of mass destruction. But I also talked about the human suffering in Iraq.
Hello, boys and girls. I have a special message for you from the President of the United States. I salute the boys and girls who are buying United States savings stamps and bonds, and are giving important support to the cause of freedom and the men who fight for us in Vietnam.
Congress gave us this authority in August 1964 to do whatever may be necessary. That's pretty far-reaching. That's the sky's the limit.
As an American citizen, you have to respect our president, whether I like it or not. It's really not my decision, but I do respect my president, and I will support whatever decision he makes.
Music played and people sang. Just for me, the church bells rang.
It is a hard fact that U.S. strikes have resulted in civilian casualties.
Now he's gone, I don't know why. Until this day, sometimes I cry. He didn't even say goodbye. He didn't take the time to lie.
The United States.
All you ever hear about in this country is our differences. That's all the media and the politicians are ever talking about, the things that separate us, things that make us different from one another. That's the way the ruling class operates in any society. They try to divide the rest of the people. They keep the lower and the middle classes fighting with each other so that they, the rich, can run off with all the fucking money. Fairly simple thing happens to work. You know anything different, that's what they're going to talk about. Race, religion, ethnic and national background, jobs, income, education, social status, sexuality, anything you can do, keep us fighting with each other so that they can keep going to the bank. You know how I describe the economic and social classes in this country? The upper class keeps all of the money, pays none of the taxes. The middle class pays all of the taxes, does all of the work. The poor are there just to scare the shit out of the middle class. Keep them showing up at those jobs.
They're all the same. I'll show you politics in America. Here it is, right here. I think the puppet on the right shares my beliefs. I think the puppet on the left is more to my liking. Hey, wait a minute. There's one guy holding up both puppets. Shut up. Go back to bed, America. Your government is in control. I had this feeling, man, because you know there's a handful of people actually run everything. That's true. It's provable. It's not I'm not a conspiracy nut. It's provable. Handful, very small elite run and own these corporations, which include the mainstream media. I had this feeling who's ever elected president, like Clinton was, no matter what the promises you promise on the campaign trail, blah, 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 when you win, you go into this smoky room with the 12 industrialist, capitalist scumfucks who got you in there, and you're in this smoky room, and this little film screen comes down, and a big guy in a cigar roll the film. And it's a shot of the Kennedy assassination from an angle you've never seen before. It looks suspiciously off the grassy knoll. And then the screen goes up, and the lights come up, and they go to the new president. Any questions? Just what my agenda is. First we bomb Baghdad. You got it.